الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين الصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين أستغفر الله ربي من كل ذنب وأتوب إليه أستغفر الله ربي من كل ذنب وأتوب إليه أستغفر الله ربي من كل ذنب وأتوب إليه اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. The Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has reported in Bukhari Sharif that a sign of the end times is that the Imams will not speak about Dajjal on the minbar. The end times will be signified that your leaders are not reminding you that the end is near. And I can personally vouch for that. When I was as young as these two children sat in front of me, I remember many Dajjal events, minor signs, major signs. It was the most interesting courses and events they used to do. And now, if you were to look, and if I were to ask anybody, when is the last time you ever even heard of this topic? When is the last time a masjid has put out a poster for this? How many of the children even know the description of Dajjal, who he is, what he is? There is that very famous and known quote that you know your enemies and keep them close. The reason they tell you to know your enemies and keep them close is so you are aware of their tricks, their attacks, their strengths, their weaknesses. Dajjal is the biggest enemy, and by the definition of his name, Dajjal, the biggest liar that will set foot on this earth. And this liar will be targeting us, will be targeting our generation, our children, our grandchildren. But the issue is, like I said, know your enemies. If we do not educate the youth, if you don't even educate those that are alive today about Dajjal, if he is to arrive, what are we going to do? You don't know what he looks like. You don't know what he's going to say. You don't know where he's going to come from. You don't know how he's going to come, what you need to do. And all these things, the job of the ulama to teach you. But again, this knowledge is not restricted to the ulama. Now, as I mentioned last week, in the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned Khushu al-Qalam. Knowledge is widespread. We all have access to it. But the point is that we need to make this a priority to learn. Because these times are near. If you look at the signs that we have covered over the past few weeks, time is very close. You are in the hadith I mentioned, he will arrive before the year 1500. Time is very close, 55 years left, if that is the case. Now, we have covered merely a fragment of the minor signs over the past few weeks. And now I think it is an adequate point where we can begin the major signs. And the first sign being the arrival of the false Messiah, Dajjal. It is said that Dajjal will arrive when this world is absolutely drowning in kufr and disbelief. Now one may argue, but this is the case now. It is the non-Muslims, it is the kuffar, the mushriks that are ruling the world. But it's not, it is saying that it's going to get even worse. It is not enough that disbelief will be the king. Fitna will be rife. Even amongst the Muslims, those that say there is one God, those that don't do shirk, they are still involved in fitna. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ told us. Dajjal will arrive when you are absolutely drowning in deprivation, in depravity. We have lost our adab, our akhlaq, abandoned the sunnah. This is the time where Dajjal will come. Dajjal will have a very distinct look. As many of you are already aware, will have already heard, Dajjal will be one-eyed. The Prophet ﷺ had mentioned in Bukhari Sharif that every single Nabi that's come before me has warned his ummah about this person, about Dajjal. And I am the same. I am warning you. But I am going to tell you something that others will not tell you. And that is that Dajjal is one-eyed, your Lord is not one-eyed. Because people will be confused in that time. And they're saying, you get confused, you fall for his trick. Remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have one eye. Now it becomes a problem when people start thinking Allah has eyes in the first place. But that's a separate discussion. He will be one-eyed. The next thing they say, that those who are mu'mineen, those who live this life according to Shariah, according to the Sunnah, etc., they will be able to see the letters Kaf Ra written on the forehead of Dajjal. This will be another sign for the people that this is that person that has come. They say Dajjal will be very broad-shouldered, as though we would use a hench, he would be built. He will have that ru'ab about him. They will say he will have long, black, thick hair. Now, if his appearance is not enough for us to recognize that this is that one that we were warned about, then we look at what signs is he going to show you. You may have all already heard the famous parable where Dajjal will show heaven and hell. People will come to him. Remember Dajjal, when the Anbiya themselves are scared and warn about him. When the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in were crying, scared about him. Why do we undermine how much power this person is going to have? When Allah Himself has given him abilities. Allah is Muhyi, Allah is Mumeet, Allah is the one that gives life and death. But He's given Dajjal this power. Why? To test the people. Are they going to fall for it? So Dajjal will bring a child forward. And this child will say, you are the Dajjal, you are the false Messiah. And Dajjal will say to the crowd watching, if I kill this kid, if I murder this child and I bring him back to life, will you all then accept me as your God? And remember, when Dajjal first descends, he's not going to come and say, I'm God straight away. He's going to do it incrementally. He's going to start and say, I'm a prophet. Then slowly, like as Mirza Ghulam Qadiani did, he'll build it up. They'll start off as normal imams and then they'll build their station up until they believe they're a prophet or a God. This is what Dajjal will do. And the people will say, yes, we'll believe you if you can kill this guy, kill this child and bring him back to life. Wow. Who can do that other than a God? Dajjal will then slay this child. And this child in particular, because this child called him out, you're a liar. He will slay this child and he will bring him back to life. Bring him back to life. Who knows who this fortunate child is that has been prophesied about. But he will be brought back. And then Dajjal says, shall I do it again? Shall I do it again to the crowd? They say, yes, do it again. The child will look at him and say, before I called you a liar, now I know that you are a liar. Because you did exactly what my prophet warned me about. Then he will try to slay this child, he will not be able to. Allah will take that power from him. But again, those that fell for it have already fallen for it. They've already fallen into shirk and kufr. The next trick of the shaitan will be, he will show heaven on one side and hell on the other side. He will show you a mirage of beautiful, lavish gardens, greenery, fruits that you've never heard of, never seen. And on the left, he will show you hell, molten pits of fire and lava and people screaming. And he will say to you, pick a side. Those that believe that he is God, they will obviously try to go towards his heaven. And they will be scared of his hell. But the Prophet ﷺ has already educated us, already gave you the guidance. And he's told us, what Dajjal will show you as heaven will actually be hell. And what Dajjal will show you as hell will actually be Jannat. So those that walk into his Jannat, they will end up finding themselves in reality where? Jahannam. And those that walk into his Jahannam, those that walk in there will be the mu'min, the mu'mineen, the true believers. Those that were aware of what the Prophet ﷺ said about Dajjal. When they walk into there, it will be as Ibrahim ﷺ, the fire that was made cool for him. It will be a Jannat for them. That is what they will enter. But again, this will be a trick. Because what is Dajjal trying to say? I am God. I can give you heaven or hell. I can bring you back to life. I can give you death. But again, as we know, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give that. And that is what Dajjal is exactly, a test. Now people question, Yaar, I know my namaz, I love Allah, I know Allah exists, I know Allah is one. I know the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the last Prophet, I've got nothing to fear, what's he going to do to me? You've just told me about these tricks, now that I know, how's he going to trick me? The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam made it so strenuous. He said that time, Dajjal will have such an attraction. He will be so alluring to people that they want to go learn from him or speak to him, that you will have to chain your women to the walls in order to stop them leaving the house. The Prophet said this. He didn't say this to be metaphorical or to be rhetorical. You will have to chain your daughters and your wives to the walls if you want to stop them falling for Dajjal's tricks. This is that level of attraction that he will have. There are other hadiths that mention that he will traverse the earth in a short span of time, as if you could count it on your fingers. There are many interpretations of this. Some say it might be because travel is so easy now. The planes, transport, whichever word you can use. Some ulama say that it is the internet, news. Something can happen in Argentina and in the next minute I can get the khabar here, it's not in England. It is this way that he will travel. Allahu A'lam, we will see in that time. But it is said that there will only be 2 cities which he will not be able to enter or go. You all know these are Haramain Sharif, Makkah, Medina. The scary thing is, only just recently, first let me give you the hadith. There's a hadith which the Prophet ﷺ narrates. Dajjal will be stood on a mountain called Mount Jabal. Have a look at this when you go out from here. There's one point I want you to actually look up. So you realize how close we are. The Prophet said that Dajjal will be stood on Mount Jabal and he will point over to the Prophet ﷺ's mosque in Medina Sharif. And he will say, that's Muhammad's mosque. We can't go there. Those that are behind him, his army will ask, what do you mean, why can't we go? He goes, you can't see them, but the angels are defending it. Do you know what had just been made on that same mountain 1400 years ago? The Saudi, whoever the government or whichever company it was, has now created a massive complex on this mountain. This complex, there's only one way in. There's only one road in. And it is marked by army personnel every step of the way. You cannot enter it. No one's allowed to go in there. And there are those that are obviously skeptical. 1 minute, this is Mount Jabal. This is where they said the Dajjal is going to arrive. This is where he's going to stand. Why would they build something here? And then when they scan over it with drones, they see nishaniya and symbolism of eyes. As we know, what does one eye symbolize? Why in music do they constantly show you the eyes? Why do they make the triangle symbol? Why do they do all of these things? Symbolism. This is very important in Shaitan's religion. In order so Shaitan's not punished in the next life, he tells you that I'm telling you to do wrong. When you listen to his music, he'll show you a nishani of his. He'll show you, the rapper show you one eye. So when you go on the day of judgment, Ya Allah, I didn't know that this was the devil's work. Shaitan will come and say, did I not show you this? You seen this and you still accepted it. This is the escape route that Shaitan will take. And this is the trap that we fall into. In Al-Aqsa, when I went in 2015, they say under the dome of the rock is where Sulaiman alayhi salam's throne is buried. Now, under that throne, they allege in books that under that throne there are buried books of magic, powerful magic which is inaccessible to the people of today. And if you were to go to the Dome of the Rock in the past few years, you will have seen all the scaffolding where the Prophet ﷺ had performed the Mi'raj from. You will see scaffolding. And when you ask them what is going on, they are digging underneath. You have to question, what are they digging underneath our masjids? What's under there? If you look at the interviews between prime ministers in the 1980s, YouTube, everything I'm saying you can find yourself. When they are having meetings between chief rabbis in Judaism and you have leading prime ministers of this world, and they are saying, have you prepared for his arrival? Go have a look, it's on YouTube. He whispers to him, have you prepared for his arrival? And the leader in question replies to him, we're nearly there. This was how long? Nearly 20 years ago, 15 years ago. We're nearly there. And what do the researchers, what do reporters say? The world has never seen a shift in civilization like it has in the past 2 decades. Never has any world, any civilization or society moved as quick as we have. My point of mentioning these things to you is so you may ask yourself the question, am I ready? When the Dajjal comes, is my Iman strong enough to deal with him? The minor signs that we have covered over the past few weeks, when they come and the major signs start to come, are you ready? If you were to die, do you feel that you could go into that grave content? You know what, I've done good, I've done the most that I can. Or will you be those people that will bang on the gates of Jahannam, asking the angels to ask Allah, give me one more day on this earth. Just one more day to do sajda. That for us is a wake-up call. They want a day, you've got days. They want one day, you might have 1 year. So what you need to do is spend it as much as possible coming close to Allah. This does not mean come to the masjid, spend the whole year sahi and sajda. That's extreme. That's too extreme. We have other responsibilities. But your responsibility should never trump the important part, and that is our end. Life is temporary. The Dajjal, these signs, they are all indicative and just re-establish the fact that this world is temporary. And it will all go eventually. What we need to worry about and ask ourselves every day, the moment we wake up and the moment before we sleep, did I spend this day well? And am I ready? With this question, inshallah, it will help us to reflect. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the strength, the tawfiq, the knowledge, and the ilm to deal with these testing times that are to come. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us strength and taqwa. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينَ. Just before we perform the sunnah, just a few announcements. As you are all aware, inshallah, the blessed month of Rabiul Awwal is coming upon us. And inshallah, to commemorate the arrival and the birth of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there will be a Rabiul Awwal program here on the 27th of September, which will take place after the Maghrib prayer. So we ask inshallah that you all come take part and inshallah earn blessings. This Sunday for ladies and children under 12, there will be a fun day, which there will be stalls, there will be mehndi, there will be other stalls, stuff to buy, eat, etc. This will be to raise funds for the masjid. As you can see, the plans are at the back. There are many developments that are going on in the masjid, so we ask that you come on this day, or you invite your sisters, mothers, etc. and donate generously. May Allah accept it all. And this week, this Wednesday, we have just begun our first Tajweed class. And just another reminder that there are still places available for next week. Tajweed is something which is farz ayn. When people don't remember this or realize this, it is not farz for you to have to understand the rules, but it is farz for you to recite the Quran correctly or make the attempt to recite it correctly. For example, one reads Surah Ikhlas. Let's read the two most common surahs we read. Surah Fatiha, Surah Ikhlas. In Surah Fatiha, one might say, instead of Alhamdulillah, all praise to Allah, Alhamdulillah. You change it from a ha to a ha. There's no longer praise that you're assigning to Allah, you're assigning something else. In the next verse, instead of Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Ra being a full mouth, they will say Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Again, without the tajweed, it's not the way that Jibreel alayhi salam had brought the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. If you look in Surah Ikhlas, instead of Qul, saying He is Allah the One, we might unknowingly, no one does it knowingly, we say Qul, eat, He is Allah the One. Again, these may seem minor mistakes, but again they become major. So in order to connect to the Quran properly, in order to attain the benefits, like it says in the hadith, read Surah Falaq al-Nas, blow it over yourselves, inshallah you will get shifa. But that shifa will be increased if you recite it in the way it was meant to be recited. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the strength, the knowledge and the ability to recite His blessed kalam in the correct way. Inshallah perform your sunnahs and the Jumu'ah will take place after that.